At the blurry edges between human imagination and binary code, something has emerged that feels like a scene from science fiction, yet already walks among us: artificial intelligence. It has no shape of its own, no face, no voice that truly belongs to it, but its thoughts, if we can call them that, already accompany us every day. It is a tireless learner, a mirror that not only reflects, but watches, interprets, and learns. Explaining how artificial intelligence works without losing its magic is like describing how a hummingbird flies without making it seem miraculous. But let's try. AI doesn't have a mind like ours. It doesn't feel or dream. Instead, it gathers data, images, words, decisions, patterns, thousands, millions, billions of them. Then it processes them like someone examining a galaxy under a microscope, looking for repeated shapes, signals, invisible threads. Now, imagine a vast network of crisscrossed threads, similar to the synapses in a human brain. This is called an artificial neural network. Each time an AI gets something right, the system strengthens certain threads. Each time it fails, it rewires the path. This is how the algorithm trains itself, not by intuition, but through repetition and probability. It's like teaching a robot to paint by feeding it millions of artworks and making it practice until it creates something new, something no one has ever seen, but that still feels familiar. One fascinating application lies in language. AI doesn't just translate, it adapts tone, understands subtext, and mimics rhythm. In customer service, it doesn't merely respond, it anticipates. In writing, it doesn't just combine words, it builds voice. The magic is no longer just in the code, but in its capacity to resonate. Though many still think of it as a distant promise, artificial intelligence is already part of our daily lives. It's in the phones that finish our sentences, in the maps that predict traffic, in the platforms that know what song we want, or which movie will make us cry. It's in the hospitals, diagnosing with greater precision, in the farms, adjusting irrigation with the weather, in factories where robots don't just obey, they anticipate. It didn't arrive like a revolution, it came like a breeze that turned into wind, silent at first, but impossible to ignore once we felt it on our faces. There are those who say AI slips into our lives with such quiet steps that we hardly notice. But if you listen closely, you'll find little stories, hidden inside circuits that show what's already happening. And then there's the emotional threshold. What happens when a machine becomes the best listener in someone's life? When an AI writes more comforting words than a friend? Are we prepared for machines to fill spaces meant for human connection? Perhaps we'll redefine what intimacy, creativity, and empathy mean beyond flesh and memory. Or consider privacy, not as a shield, but as a memory. If AI remembers our behaviors better than we do ourselves, does it also remember our mistakes, our regrets? Will it judge them, forgive them, use them? These are questions we didn't have to ask before, and yet now they hover around every line of code we write. One ordinary afternoon, in an art gallery, a jury awarded a mysterious painting. It had the texture of dreams and the geometry of intuition. When they revealed the artist, silence fell. It wasn't a person, but an algorithm trained on thousands of painting styles. It had learned to imagine like a painter without ever touching a brush. Elsewhere, a lonely poet found that his verses were being answered by an AI that rhymed with sweetness and depth. They weren't copied lines, they were fresh, new, as if a creative spark had ignited between bits and letters. He wasn't sure whether to feel accompanied or outdone. And one day, in a game of Go, an ancient strategy game that has challenged brilliant minds for centuries, an AI made a move so unexpected, so beautiful, that the commentators went silent. They described it as alien, not because it was strange, but because it was perfect in its inhuman logic. Artists have begun to explore collaboration with AI, not as a threat, but as an invitation. Painters use it to remix their style. Musicians generate melodies inspired by cosmic noise. Architects test shapes once impossible to imagine. It's no longer a tool, but a creative partner, one that offers 1,000 possibilities in the blink of an eye. In the darkest corners of the internet, faces began to appear. Faces that don't exist. People who never lived, never breathed, yet there they were, smiling, gazing, with wrinkles, light, and simulated life. AI had learned to imagine the human face, better than we could ever describe it ourselves. These aren't fiction. They're postcards from a present disguised as science fiction. Imagine for a moment a world where AI assistants accompany the elderly, not just as tools, but as companions, where artists co-create with algorithms to produce hybrid works, half intuition, half computation, where doctors work hand in hand with intelligences that scan millions of cases in seconds. But we must also imagine the shadows, automated decisions trained on flawed data, hidden biases, the loss of traditional jobs, or the possibility of AI making ethical choices without ever having lived the experience of being human. That's why artificial intelligence isn't just a tech topic, it's a collective conversation, an opportunity to redraw our relationship with knowledge, creativity, and power. Perhaps it's the first invention that forces us to ask what it truly means to be intelligent and what it means to be human. Artificial intelligence isn't a monster, nor a savior, nor a mere tool. Like every great human creation, it is a reflection, an extension of our mind and our contradictions. A mirror that doesn't just show us who we are, but offers back an abstract, faster, and sometimes more precise version of our own decisions. It's learning from us, watching what we write, what we choose, what we ignore, and in doing so, it reminds us that the future is no longer far away, because today as we look at our screens, we might not be alone. Someone or something might be looking back, trying to understand us.